Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. I'm Reverend Tomas, and thank you to all of you who have recently subscribed and joined us on this journey. This is a lot of fun for me because I know that an audience on YouTube or any internet platform is international. So, isn't it wonderful that with our modern technology that we're looking at right here, what you're seeing before you is literally a projected image on your screen? And we're reaching each other and communicating from completely different countries on the other side of the world at different times. And isn't it a beautiful thing that you're here and dedicated and committed to your spiritual practice, and that I here in Arizona am able to inspire and help you in some way? It's pretty cool, isn't it? So we have spent the last 10 days here looking at the principles of miracles, which is the very first part of chapter 1 of the text. Now we're looking at part 2, which is entitled Revelation, Time, and Miracles. So we're looking here at a couple of really interesting points. To hit the highlights and the summary here on this video, we're looking at the fundamental difference between revelation as it's defined in A Course in Miracles and miracles. And we're also looking at our essential equality, our oneness. We're always looking at that, by the way. But this is a very, very good teaching moment for us today. Revelation, again, as I mentioned in the last video, does not mean the book of Revelation that got put in at the end of the Bible, which, when you read it, can seem like the product of a very active imagination, can't it? That's how it appeared to me the first time I read it, because I was curious about it. And as some of you know, if you don't know, I was raised in not one but two fundamentalist Christian traditions. One my parents left, the other I left. So yeah, these videos are interspersed with Sunday school moments. I'm going to leave that one at that for right now. But Revelation, as it's presented and talked about in A Course in Miracles, reflects our original communication with God, our interrelationship, our interbeing, with God. It's beyond words, it's beyond concepts. I mean, it really is beyond words like human being. It's beyond space, time, measurements of any kind, and we cannot describe it in words. It's reflective of who we are. That's what this course refers to as revelation, which may be a glimpse that we get along the way. If you haven't had something like this, don't worry about it. This reflects our true nature. And what we're doing in spiritual practice is we're removing the blocks to our experience, our awareness of who we are. Revelation inspires experience. We're removing the blocks to truth. We're removing the blocks to our awareness of who we are. That's what heaven is an awareness of perfect oneness. It is not, as it's depicted here in the world, some pearly gated paradise. And if you think about it, why would perfect oneness have a gate with a gatekeeper? I mean, really, right? Why would it fence itself in and others out, right? It wouldn't be a place like a garden, because that would imply that there are other places outside the garden. And awareness of perfect oneness means awareness of perfect oneness. It's all inclusive. Total. I realize that here in the world, we don't see it that way. And even when it makes sense to us, we need to hear it again and again. Enter this course, which repeats ideas all the time, deliberately, of course, so we begin to get them and we begin to put them into practice, which, as we know, is where it's at. That's where the action lies. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's revelation. Now, a miracle does not unite us directly with God. A miracle unites us directly with our brother. Forgiveness, right? A miracle, smiling at your neighbor and saying hello, or even hi. If you don't have two syllables, you can say hi. Or you could just smile and wave and not say anything. I know, miracle, same, no order of difficulty. Expression of love, extending love, forgiveness, love. They unite us with our brother, and they're temporary, aren't they? Miracles are taking place, apparently, here in the world where they're needed, where we perceive things incorrectly. They induce right perception. They're teaching devices, they're learning devices for us. And they induce action, not experience, but action. They get us to forgive more. Why? Because we recognize our essential oneness. It becomes a habit. It's here that they're needed. Now, what underlies this, these last few words that we've talked about here, what underlies this is the fact that forgiveness is an illusion. There's nothing to forgive. Awareness of perfect oneness is awareness of perfect oneness. There's nothing to forgive because there's no one out there to be forgiven. That's the way it ultimately is. But here in the world, we are having a vastly different experience. So we need forgiveness to help us remove the blocks to truth, to help us clear the air, if you want to call it that, to remove obstacles, to take down walls or remove a veil, peel a layer of an onion. That's a common one from world spirituality. To walk through a passing fog bank or a cloud, to set it aside. The difference between forgiveness as an illusion and all of our other illusions is that forgiveness leads us to the truth, not further away from it. It is distinctive in that way. Therefore, it's the foundational centerpiece of the thought system of this course. It leads us to truth. In this sense, it's essential. Not only is it very helpful, it's essential. So here in this segment, Jesus talks about awe, as in a sense of awe, which is reserved for revelation when you're communicating directly with God. Miracles are the sign of love between equals. This is really important, isn't it? Miracles are the sign of love between equals. So awe is inappropriate. Jesus goes on here to say that awe is an inappropriate response to him. He's our brother. It's very different than the way he's portrayed in some religious traditions in this world, isn't it? Now, I know that a number of people discover A Course in Miracles. Really, it discovers you, doesn't it? They come to this material from a fundamentalist Christian background. Not everybody, of course, this is universal, but it's a common enough occurrence. It's especially the case here in the United States, where I live and grew up. And even though I've lived in other places in the world, I currently reside here. It's common enough for people to come to this material having experienced some form of fundamentalism growing up. That is certainly my experience, as I've noted multiple times. And there's so many stories, I can't fit them all into one video. And yes, it's true. I was that kid in Sunday school that asked the questions the adults certainly they simply couldn't answer them. So yes, it's true that I spent long hours in Sunday school thinking about something else because I couldn't get the answers that I was looking for. And well, I thought about all kinds of things. I thought about a football game. I thought about going for a walk with my dog. I thought about hiking in the mountains. I thought about food a lot. So maybe some of you can relate to that. Miracles are a sign of love between equals. So Jesus is saying, there's nothing about me that you cannot attain. I say the same thing. There's nothing that you cannot attain. There's nothing about Jesus that we cannot also attain. So let's not confer a special godlike status upon him. He's our teacher, and he goes on to liken himself to an elder brother, which he certainly is, isn't he? An elder brother that's deserving of respect and devotion only because of his devotion to us. Important, isn't it? Very. He's saying, look, there's nothing about me that you cannot attain. How loving and inspiring, right? How loving and inspiring and beautiful. There's nothing about me that you cannot attain. This is worth a moment of silence, isn't it? It's worth taking a few moments to let it sink in. Yeah. Yeah. Now, the remainder of this section goes on to explain, in terms of a horizontal and vertical axis, how the miracle collapses time. Now, understand that a miracle is a shift, any shift in our perception from fear to love, from the ego to God, from the thought system of the ego and individuality and separation to the thought system of the Holy Spirit. from death to life, from darkness to light, any shift, no matter how small it may appear. Remember, the very first sentence of the text outside of the introduction. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. They're all the same. They're sudden shifts in perception, which in fact collapses time. It eliminates in a temporal sequence the need for forgiveness lessons, for experience that might have taken a long time. Here in the Course, Jesus says thousands of years. And it's quite true. It speeds up the process in this way by, when we forgive, we eliminate the need to have another painful lesson, the same painful lesson. We don't have to repeat it because we're learning it. And there is a deep well of unconscious guilt that's unconscious to us. We can't see it. We don't really know about it. It's enough just to trust that the Holy Spirit heals that when we forgive. And how does it do this? Well, it's a recognition of perfect equality between giver and receiver. A fundamental idea of A Course in Miracles is to give and to receive are one in truth. This makes sense, doesn't it? There's no other. We're giving the miracle to ourselves. When you forgive someone else, you are forgiving yourself at the same time. It's very profound. Now, with many of these, actually with all of the sections of this text, what I invite you to do is to please read it. This video series is in absolutely no way designed as a substitute for doing the work and doing the reading. And there's only so much I can say in a 15 to 20-minute video. Because, well, Jesus dictated this course. He says it better. So let's listen to our elder brother and take heart in knowing that there's nothing that he has done that we cannot also do. That's really important, isn't it? There's nothing in any teacher when you see someone who looks calm, who looks serene, who looks wise or experienced. There's nothing special about that person. There's nothing special about this. It's an image on your screen. Yeah. There's nothing that I have done that you cannot also do. Jesus himself says it. There's nothing about me that you cannot also attain. So let's leave it with that, shall we? The subscription button is right here. I would love to have you. And please feel welcome to leave comments or questions right here. I'm here to be a resource and a help to you. And I thank you, as always, for joining me.